All right, welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the new blueprint for building AI. I mean, have you ever wondered how an app like ChatGPT goes from being this, general know-it-all tool to a super specialized assistant for a specific job? Well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's break it all down. So let's start with the big question. How are modern AI apps really built? How do we get from a general purpose AI to, say, a specialized tool that a doctor or a lawyer could actually use? You might think that engineers are in a lab somewhere building a totally new AI from scratch every single time, but the modern approach? It's something completely different. And this analogy just nails it. The old way, traditional machine learning, was kind of like being an expert mechanic who had to build a custom engine from scratch for every single car. It was slow, it was super expensive. But today, AI engineering is all about starting with this incredible, pre-built, high-performance Ferrari engine, and your main job is just focusing on designing the perfect car around it. Yeah, this really represents a fundamental shift in how we think about this stuff. The job isn't about building these gigantic models from the ground up anymore, not at all. It's about taking an incredibly powerful pre-existing model and then skillfully guiding it to do exactly what you need it to do. It's become way less about construction and way more about, communication and direction. So, what is this Ferrari engine we keep talking about? Well, let's meet the core component of this entire new world. It's called the foundation model. Seriously, just think of it as the powerful, all-knowing brain that we get to work with from day one. Okay, so here's the crucial thing to understand. A foundation model isn't a specialist. It's a true generalist. It's been trained on a colossal amount of data, text, images, code, you name it, from all over the internet. And that's what makes it capable of understanding and generating content for a huge variety of tasks, not just one specific thing. And I guarantee you've already seen these in action, right? ChatGPT is built for language. GitHub Copilot? That's built on a model that's been trained to understand and write code. And DALL-E is a model that connects text descriptions to images. Every single one of these is a specialized application, but they're all built on top of one of these powerful generalist foundations. Honestly, the best way to think about a foundation model is like this. Imagine you've just hired a brilliant new teammate. This person has read nearly everything publicly available online. They're a genius. But they have one critical blind spot. They know absolutely nothing about your specific private information. They don't know your company's internal data, your project's history, or your internal policies. So that right there becomes the central challenge of modern AI engineering. How do we take this brilliant but, totally ignorant new teammate and teach them what they need to know to be truly useful for our specific job? Well, the simplest and most direct way to get your new AI teammate to do something is you just ask it. But, and this is a big but, how you ask is everything. Giving it really clear, precise instructions, maybe with some context and a few examples, that's a whole discipline in itself, and it's called prompt engineering. And the difference is just huge. I mean, instead of just vaguely saying, summarize this document, a good prompt gives the AI a role. You are a legal assistant, a very specific task. Summarize this in 5 bullet points, and clear constraints. Avoid expressing personal opinions. This simple shift from a vague request to a detailed instruction dramatically improves the quality of the result you get back. But what happens if just giving it good instructions isn't quite enough? Well, we have a pretty simple framework for that. If the AI is missing specific information it needs to answer a question, you use a technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short. This is exactly like giving your new teammate the company handbook, the exact documents they need to read right before they answer. Now, what if the AI has the right info but the wrong behavior? Maybe its tone is off or it's not formatting things right. That's when you use fine-tuning. This is like role-playing customer service scenarios with them to teach them better manners and correct their style through example. Okay, so this is pretty cool. We've taught our AI teammate how to understand our context and how to communicate effectively, and that alone is super powerful. But what if we could take it to the next level? What if our AI could actually do things in the world, not just talk about them? This is where we introduce the amazing concept of AI agents. And this is all about turning the AI's knowledge and its reasoning ability into real-world action by giving it access to tools. So what is an agent? Well, An agent is basically our foundation model, that AI brain we've been talking about, plus a set of tools it can use. This could be anything, like a calculator, a function to query a database, or the ability to call an API. But crucially, it also has a decision-making process that allows it to figure out which tool to use and when to use it, all to accomplish a specific goal. Let's make this real with a practical example. Say you ask an agent to forecast next quarter's revenue. It doesn't just guess. First, its brain figures out, hey, I need data. So it uses a tool to query your sales database. Then it might use another tool, like a data analysis library, to process that data and find trends. And finally, it uses its built-in language skills to generate a human-readable report summarizing its findings. See? It's a multi-step, tool-driven process all happening autonomously. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how, but what really separates a cool demo that you play with for 5 minutes from a professional, reliable AI system that a business can actually depend on? Well, it turns out there are a couple of critical factors that are really easy to overlook. First off, just evaluating these things is incredibly difficult. I mean, it's not like grading a math problem where 2 plus 2 is always 4. No, grading an AI's output is much more like grading an essay. There can be many different correct or good answers, and judging the quality is often really subjective. So building the systems just to consistently measure and improve this quality, that's a huge engineering challenge all by itself. But this next point, this might be the single most important one of all. Just listen to this quote. "The best chef with bad ingredients still makes bad food." It just perfectly captures what makes or breaks a real-world AI application. You can have the smartest model in the universe, but if you feed it garbage data, you will always get garbage results. What this means is that the quality of your data pipeline is absolutely everything. The information you use to guide your AI, to give it that company handbook we talked about, it has to be relevant, it has to be correct, and it has to be consistent. The old saying, garbage in, garbage out, has never been more true than it is right here in AI engineering. So if you take just one thing away from all of this today, let it be this mental model. AI engineering isn't just one thing. It's really this incredible blend of classic software engineering, the probabilistic thinking of statistics, the scalability of good systems design, and, maybe most surprisingly, a deep understanding of human psychology, so you can craft the right instructions and experiences. At the end of the day, the barrier to building incredibly powerful AI applications has never, ever been lower. We've moved from a world where you had to build the entire engine yourself to one where you just get to design the cool car around it. This power is now accessible to pretty much everyone. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with your next AI teammate?